Hey there friends, from the light and the dark side. Welcome back to the channel. This is Philomania. My monsters and I are thrilled to have you here. Today, we're diving once again into the wild and fascinating universe of collectible pocket knives. In this episode, I want to introduce you to one of the most talked about knives in recent years, the legendary Demko AD20. This knife has been part of my personal collection for about 8 or 9 months now, so it's still relatively new to me, but it made massive waves in the knife world when it hit the market, I believe sometime around 2023. So what makes this knife such a big deal? Well, it all comes down to its locking mechanism, something called the shark lock. Yeah, you heard that right, shark lock. And just like its name, it's aggressive, strong, and seriously cool. It's an innovative and incredibly robust system that adds a whole new level of safety and confidence to your EDC. All you have to do is press this little tab right here. There's a spring inside and the blade flicks open almost like magic. With just a slight wrist movement, you can deploy or close it with total ease. But here's the part collectors love. The shark lock isn't just about strength, it also allows you to operate the knife entirely with one hand and with barely any effort. No play, no wobble, this thing locks up like a vault. It's as solid as a rock, both vertically and horizontally. You get instant deployment and it's insanely efficient. I mean, just look at this, it basically opens by itself. You can let it drop by gravity or give it a light wrist flick and boom, blades out. Like I said, closing it is just as smooth. But honestly, you really have to hold one in your hands to understand what I'm talking about. This locking system blew people's minds when it first dropped. It was a total game changer. Everyone loved it. And I'll admit something, I was skeptical at first. Yeah, I wasn't sure about it. At first glance, it's not what you'd call an eye-catching knife. I mean, from a design perspective, it looks kind of, I don't know, standard. Nothing too flashy. Just your classic clip point blade with a stone-washed finish. But here's the thing, this one's made with MagnaCut steel, and that changes everything. MagnaCut is top-tier super hard, corrosion-resistant, durable. Basically, it ticks all the boxes of what we look for in high-performance knife steel. No surprise there. This particular model has what's called a harpoon-style clip point, which adds a touch of visual aggression to an otherwise utilitarian blade. Up top, you've got a generous thumb ramp knife size and well-placed for control. And the jimping? Not overly aggressive, which makes it really comfortable to rest your thumb there during use. The material used for the scales is actually incredibly resistant, not just to wear and tear, but to extreme temperatures as well. It can take both high heat and freezing cold without flinching. And believe it or not, it's harder than a rock. No joke. This stuff isn't just plastic, it's a composite, a high-performance blend of materials that gives the knife that almost metallic feel. I mean, check this out. No matter how hard you press on the scales, they don't flex at all. It's solid. Honestly, it almost feels like titanium in the hand. But at the end of the day, it's just a very tough plastic used extensively in modern knife manufacturing because of its strength-to-weight ratio and resistance properties. You see it more and more, especially on knives built for serious everyday use. Now, let's talk about the pocket clip. This one right here is ambidextrous, which is awesome. That means if you're left-handed, you can swap it to the other side with no problem at all. It also includes a lanyard hole, so you can attach a paracord or leather strap if that's your style. The clip itself is no-nonsense minimalist, but solid. It's not trying to steal the show or look tactical. It's just there to do its job, and it does it well. I've carried this knife in my pocket several times now, and I can confirm it stays put, doesn't shred your pants, and holds tight without being too aggressive. And internally, the knife runs on washers located right inside the pivot. That's part of what makes the action feel so smooth when opening and closing. Now, let's talk about the action. The knife runs on what we call washers or bushings, and they're what make the blade movement incredibly smooth, super smooth. That glide you feel when you open or close it? Yeah, that's thanks to those internal components. There's also something really cool about the acoustic feedback. This knife has a very satisfying sound when it locks into place. It's something knife enthusiasts truly appreciate. It's part of the whole experience. As you probably noticed, I've been able to deploy the blade using the shark lock, but also with thumb studs, and even with a little move known as the Spidey flick, which of course comes from our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Well, not that time. And nope, not that one either. Okay, look, it's totally doable, I swear, it's actually pretty easy. I just don't have the best angle here because of the camera setup. Damn it, I cut myself. Anyway, back to the hardware. On the pivot, you'll notice it has a torque screw on one side, I believe it's a T10, and on the reverse side, there's a flat pivot head stamped with the Demko Knives logo. This knife is 100% made in the USA, designed and produced by none other than Andrew Demko, the Russian-American knife designer behind some of the most innovative lock mechanisms in the industry. And let me tell you, this model in particular, the AD20, is highly sought after. It's not easy to get your hands on one of these. As soon as they hit the shelves, bam, they're gone in seconds. No exaggeration. I was lucky enough to grab mine from Southern Edge Knives, a US-based retailer. Timing is everything with this knife blink, and you miss it. They sold out in under a minute. No joke. People online constantly complain about how hard it is to actually get one of these. And you know what? That's part of what makes the AD20 so special, its scarcity. Every time a new batch drops, especially the ones made in the USA like this one, they disappear almost instantly. Knife collectors know the drill. You see it in stock, you buy her, it's gone. That sense of urgency just adds to the mystique. Now, let's talk about something that's often overlooked, the weight. This is not a lightweight knife, not even close. It feels solid, it feels robust, built like a tank. And that's actually part of its charm. It gives you confidence, like you're holding a tool that's ready for absolutely anything. Let's check the weight. Hold on. Okay, let me set this up. Here we go. 6.1 ounces total, which translates to 171 grams. That's a lot of steel and hardware packed into one pocket knife. So yeah, you'll definitely feel it in your pocket. It's not the kind of knife you'd carry in gym shorts or lightweight summer pants unless we're talking cargo shorts, maybe. But here's the thing. Once it's open and locked into place, it gives you that fixed blade feeling. It's so solid, so secure, that it doesn't feel like a folder anymore. So just keep that in mind, because this knife isn't just about looks or hype. It's a serious workhorse designed for real use, with the heft to prove it. So yeah, this is a knife built for serious business. It's tough, it's solid, and it features the legendary shark lock, a locking mechanism that can handle an insane amount of pressure. This isn't just a cool feature, it's a functional innovation that gives you confidence when using the knife hard. Now, in this particular review, we're going to do something really interesting. I'm going to show you a full-on transformation of this knife. If you've been following the channel, you probably remember we already did a review of the original GOAT titanium scales these right here. And today, I'm finally going to install them on the AD20. Now, don't get me wrong. I love the purple grivery scales that came with it. I mean, that color gives the knife a unique vibe, a playful edge that I personally dig. But let's be honest, nothing beats the feel of titanium in the hand. Installing these titanium scales is going to give the knife a whole new personality. It's going to look sharper, feel sturdier, and gain some extra weight, which, by the way, is not a bad thing. That added heft actually helps when you're deploying the blade or making precision cuts. It just gives you more control and better balance overall. The set also includes these gorgeous standoffs and spacers, which are absolutely necessary to complete the mod. And hey, just to make this video even more fun, we're going to do a mini unboxing. I've got a small but super cool part that just arrived after a few months of waiting. Because yeah, that's how this hobby goes. Sometimes even the tiniest components can take forever to arrive, but when they finally do, it's worth it. This final piece is also from Original GOAT, and let me tell you, it's a beauty. So this piece right here replaces the original standoffs, those little spacers that connect both scales with the screws. Instead of those, we'll be installing this gorgeous backspacer, which not only adds a bit more weight to the knife, but also kicks the aesthetics up a notch. Once installed, it'll give the knife a whole new silhouette, more complete, more refined. Just take a look, it's going to look something like this. Pretty slick, right? To me, details like this take the knife to another level. So that's the plan. We're going to dress it up, suit it in its finest armor, and fully upgrade this knife using precision, crafted components designed specifically for the AD20 by the one and only Original Goat. Just a reminder, these parts aren't made by Demko Knives. They're from another American brand called Original Goat, known for producing some truly high-quality aftermarket parts for premium knives. We're about to see the transformation. Now, for the installation part, I'll speed things up and show you the process in a time-lapse, since there are already tons of full breakdown videos on YouTube that go step by step. That's not the goal of this video focused on the before and after. All right, I'm going to grab my tools, and we'll get started with the swap. And here it is. The knife is now fully assembled with the titanium scales from Original Goat, the backspacer is locked in place. The transformation is complete. All right, let's break it down. First, obvious. The weight has definitely gone up. Remember earlier when we weighed the knife with the Original Goat scales? It came in at 6.1 ounces. Not too heavy, very manageable for EDC. But now with the titanium scales installed, we're looking at 8.3 ounces, which is around 234 grams. That's a significant jump up, full 2.2 ounces more than before. And to me, that's a very good thing. You can feel the difference the moment you pick it up. It feels way more serious. Like intimidatingly solid, but also elegant. That weight gives it presence. It feels like a tool that means business. And let's talk about the build quality of these original GOAT titanium scales. They're exceptional. I mean, look at the feet, it's absolutely flawless. The tolerances are so tight, it almost feels like these came straight from Demko's own shop. But of course, Demko does make his own titanium scales too, but not with this exact pattern. This right here is called the gunstock pattern, named after the shape and texture of a gun handle. It features a grippy, textured center panel that improves traction during use, and the contoured, smooth edges on both sides give you an ultra-comfortable grip. So not only does it look amazing, it actually improves how the knife feels in hand. When you hold it, everything just clicks. Form, function, and feel all perfectly balanced. Now let's talk about comfort, because this knife feels really good in the hand. Not that the original GOAT scales were uncomfortable not at all, but with these titanium scales, you definitely get a more aggressive grip. And that's a good thing, especially now that the knife is heavier. You want that extra control when you're handling something this solid. Honestly, I'm super happy with how this turned out. As you can see here, the blade is sitting perfectly centered between the scales, just as it should. That tells you everything you need to know about the precision of these parts both, the titanium scales and the backspacer from original GOAT. Fit and finish are absolutely spot on. During the install, I did have to swap out a few parts. These are the pins I replaced. They came in the same package. There are 3 of them, and they're slightly longer than the original ones. They go right here just behind the shark lock mechanism. You can't really see them from the outside, but they play a key role in keeping that lock perfectly secure. One interesting difference is how the titanium scales handle the pins. On the G10 scales, you could actually see the pins. They were recessed inside and visible through the body of the knife. But with the titanium scales from original GOAT, the pins are hidden. And to me, that's a big aesthetic upgrade. It gives the knife a cleaner, more refined, look more premium, more finished. Exactly what you'd expect from a high-end mod. Everything about it, from the fit to the feel, just screams quality. One more thing, let's talk about a few parts that are no longer in use. These right here are the liners from the original configuration. Since the original GOAT titanium scales are linerless, these are now officially retired, at least for now. But I'll keep them as spares. If at any point I want to reinstall the G10 scales, I'll need these liners again. So yeah, just something to keep in mind if you're planning to swap parts on your own. Now, in terms of tools and supplies, here's what I used during the build. A couple of nylon or plastic pry bar super important so you don't scratch or damage the titanium while removing or installing parts. Some nano oil, a specialized lubricant I applied to the washers and pivot to ensure smooth action. The replacement pins, as I mentioned earlier. And of course, the original standoffs, which used to go right here in the middle of the knife. Remember those? There used to be a visible gap between the scales held together by those barrel spacers. But now, with the backspacer fully installed, that gap is gone and the knife looks way more refined and complete. Those standoffs, like the liners, are now backup parts in case I ever want to revert the knife to its original setup. Oh, and one last tool I used was this sweet little multi-tool. It's got a magnetic bit holder, so you can swap out different Torx tips on the fly, super handy for disassembly. This one in particular is made by Vero Engineering. It's crafted in titanium, and yeah, it's absolutely badass. Smooth, clean, elegant. Titanium everything, baby. Wait, what was that? I think my Alexa just turned on by itself. No idea why. Maybe it liked the knife. Or maybe that's just a sign of approval from the AI gods. Anyway, this brings us to the end of this epically long but deeply satisfying review. I hope you enjoyed every second of it. And just to prove I'm not making this up, Alexa, mute yourself. Although, I gotta say, I actually liked the music she picked. Nice job, Alexa. But seriously. All right, my friends, thank you so much for hanging out with me and my monsters through this full-blown transformation of the Demko AD20. We've turned a great knife into something even more special, thanks to these beautiful original GOAT titanium scales and the custom backspacer. Remember, the AD20 is not an easy knife to get. It sells out in seconds. And the scales? Same story. If you find them in stock, don't hesitate. They're collector grade. If you have any questions about the build, the parts, or anything else knife-related, drop a comment below. I'll be there to help however I can. From all of us here at Philomania, myself, and all my little monsters, thank you for watching, thank you for your support, and thank you for sharing this passion. We'll see you in the next episode. Peace, love, and sharp blades. Bye 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 bye.